أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من شر الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين، واللعنة الدائمة الأبدية على أعدائهم أجمعين لا قيام يوم الدين. السلام عليكم my beloved ones ورحمة الله وبركاته. Today we are going to have the questions and answers about the disposal of the animal of sacrifice. After the sacrifice, where do you take the meat? How many people are sharing? Now, in general, among the scholars, the idea is that they understood from the Quran that three shares are to be the animal of sacrifice is shared into three divisions, like three shares are done. So share number one, yours, you Hajji, because you are guest of Allah in Mina and Allah wants to feed you. So Allah accepted your sacrifice. Now you're guest of Allah, so Allah will feed you. So you eat from the hospitality of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He accepted. You gave it to Allah. Now Allah says, take you, your mu'min brother, and the poor. Three people eat from that. Okay. And this here you will find it in Surah Al-Hajj. فَكُلُوا مِنْهَا, ayat 28. فَكُلُوا مِنْهَا, you eat from it, you. وَأَطْعِمُوا الْبَائِسَ الْفَقِيرِ, and the one who's desperate, poor, desperate, feed. So share of the poor, your share. So 50-50, according to this ayat of Surah Al-Hajj. And then in Surah Al-Hajj, ayat 30, فَكُلُوا مِنْهَا, you eat from it. وَأَطْعِمُوا الْقَانِعَ وَالْمُعْتَرِ. Obviously, the interpretations, that's why you will say the Sistani is not very decisive on these divisions. So here there are three divisions. One is that you eat, فَكُلُوا مِنْهَا. So you eat is in both ayat. Poor person is in that ayat. Here, where's the poor person? Al-Mu'tar. So you and poor in this ayat is also available. So il-qani', the one who's satisfied, the one who doesn't need. Okay, this is how it is interpreted according to many of our respected mufassirin. So you eat, you give someone who's not poor from your mu'mineen, and then you feed the poor. So that's why some scholars, they say divide into two shares, because your share and the share of the person who satisfies it is one, because that ayat mentions you, here mentions you and qana. But the poor is there in both ayat. So either you and poor, either you're a mu'min and a poor, three shares. So this is what you get from the ayat, from the Quran ayat of Surah Al-Hajj related to sacrifice. Now, the ulama, obviously they will refer to the ahadith, and the authentic ahadith also explaining these ayat and these divisions. So let's see the juice of this ayat, the conclusion of this ayat, or ahadith, or the fatwa from Sayyid Sistani Damadullah. So as I said, in general, fuqaha, they say divide into three: your share, your mu'min brother's share, and the share of the poor. So your share, what will happen? You can't carry your goat from the slaughterhouse and and go and eat, as we mentioned in the text. The other share is your mu'min brother. I mean, you can't cut and give it to him. Take this as a share of yours. And now, not necessarily three divisions, but at least you eat and let someone else eat and give to the poor. So 1/3 is going to the poor. So the question asks here, في العصر الحاضر لا يمكن تقسيم الهدي إلى ثلاثة. Okay, in this era, we cannot divide the sacrifice into three divisions, because it becomes messy situation and unhygienic, and government doesn't want the filth and all those kind of things due to the safety of the health of the Hujjaj. Okay, so that is why we have restrictions. So even distributing to the poor, if all these circumstances are there, you can't eat, you can't give to the poor, you can't. So what should you do? So first of all, he says that it's obligatory precaution that the division that the from these three division, uh, the main thing is the obligatory precaution is to take this 1/3 of the poor and give it charity. However, you eat or give to your mu'min brother, it's not obligatory. Okay, so the obligatory part is based on obligatory precaution is the poor share of the poor. So فغير واجب, he says, the 1/3 of yours and 1/3 of, it's not wajib for you to eat. It's not wajib for you to feed your mu'min brother. But yeah, a poor, you need to give that sadaqah. والتصدق والتصدق بالثلث. So what about the third part? Yes, that part is obligatory precaution. However, if there is any difficulty associated, okay, and inability to give to the poor, then that share also is the obligation befalls on from it. Okay, the obligatory precaution. Uh, As we mentioned before, that there are committees of Hujjaj who are responsible in the caravan for the sacrifice, the committee of the sacrifice. Okay. So what happens many times, Hujjaj say, I want to go, I want to go, I want to go with I want to just see my sacrifice and this and that. So they do not take everybody. You see, they because Mina, you're going with the group and you're towards sacrifice, and somehow you get lost, you get lost, you get lost, whatever. So just stay in the tents, and we will do the responsibility of your slaughtering. But how will we bring all these slaughtered goat to them, cut into shares? Then see, this bag is yours, Haji Fulan. This bag is for the poor. This bag, it's or this bag is yours for you to eat. So it will be difficult and for this committee to perform. He says our selection of the opinion, that means there are various opinions amongst the scholars. Okay. He says, my opinion is it's not obligatory for a person who's performing Hajj to eat from his sacrifice. It's not obligatory. Mustahab, yes, but not obligatory. So there is no problem that to bring the 1/3 of the owner of the sacrifice to them. You don't have to collect 1/3 and bring it to them. He says it's not obligatory. So your mu'min brother for kulu al-qana', it's not obligatory, say the Sistani, based on the contextual indication taking from the narrations of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. However, the 1/3 for the poor is emphasized. Question number 3. So now let's say you slaughter 5 goats and you took the 1/3, okay, and 1/3 of this got mixed with 1/3 of that, and all the got mixed. As we said, it's not obligatory, you see, to eat from it. So uh, is it possible to put all these 5 persons, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, and put it in a pot and cook it and mix it? Okay. Um, will it be sufficient? He says, yeah, it will be sufficient. because it's not obligatory. It's a recommended precaution to eat from it. It's not obligatory to eat from it. Okay. So therefore, cook together and feed it, and eat yourself and feed it. Since it's not obligatory from the beginning for you to eat it, if you mix it up, let's say you're following a marja who says that obligatory, then this can help that you ate from that pot, and you let the Mu'min brother eat from that pot, and so it was covered. Is it permissible? Okay, so sometimes the slaughterer, what they do is you give them goat. Instead of giving them 10, 20 euros for slaughtering each sacrifice, just give them this the goat. Or if you're planning to take the sacrifice, give them some parts of it as a compensation for his work. So can we compensate someone? Instead of giving them money, we give them the sacrifice of animal of sacrifice. Let's say a person who did some job for you, cooked for you, the kitchen, the chef. So can I just, instead of paying him like $100 for his cooking, just give him 5 goats? He says you can't do that. You can't sell the sacrifice. It's not business. You can't. But if you leave it and they sell it, they do whatever, that's fine. But for yourself, your sacrifice, you can't sell it. It's dedicated to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is given to Allah. Your share, you eat from it. It's mustahab to say this, Sistani, your mu'min brothers, and obligatory precaution, a charity, 1/3 goes to the poor. Okay. Now, the question is, okay, the animal of sacrifice has certain parts which has some value. Certain parts does not have any value. Or the entire animal doesn't have any value. So if the entire animal doesn't have any monetary value, it's not soldable or something like that, that you can give it to anybody because it doesn't have any value. But if it had value, then you can't use that value to pay off certain services. Uh, what about some parts of it uh, which might not have any, like other than flesh? Because flesh people eat. So the question uh, is it permissible to give the slaughterer, the one who slaughters, the skin, because it says value, the head, value, the legs, value, am'a, some might have value, some might not have value, some drink the soup of it, they call it kirsch or something like that. Not kirsch, kirsch is shark, kirsch, yani kirsch, yani stomach. Instead of paying money, you give them these things. Uh, it is permissible to give the sacrifice to the slaughterer so that the slaughterer can peel off its skin. Okay. So skin you can give for the slaughterer so that he can peel off and take it, though it is recommended precaution not to do so. Okay. It's recommended precaution not to. I mean, you can give him free of charge, but we are talking about what? We are talking about selling it, or we are talking about giving it in compensation for his services. That is where the question comes. It's a sacrifice for Allah. He gave it to Allah. Now you are going to use it for yourself to as a compensation for the services somebody did. So he says it is permissible to give the slaughterer the animal of sacrifice so that he can peel off the skin, and however, it's recommended precaution not to do so. So what about the head and the legs? head and the legs. وأما الرأس والمقاديم ونحوها فلا يجوز فيها ذلك. Giving head to the slaughterer, excuse me, giving legs to the slaughterer for his services. Not just like that, just like he wants to take, is a Muslim, take it. But just for the uh, for slaughtering, compensation, wages. So he said no. Head, no. Legs, no. Any other body parts, no. Skin, yes, but recommended precaution not to use it as a compensation of the work he did. But you want to just give it without compensation, that's fine. I mean, without being. So give him 10 euro of each slaughtering, which you agreed with him. And then he said, can I take the skin? Yes, take the skin. Maybe consider 10 euro cheap or 5 euro cheap. As long as it's not considered, the skin is not considered as a compensation, it's just given it to him just like that. But he feels, no, I slaughtered this many and they just gave me 10 euros. Seems that was power cut off or something like that. Anyhow, so this is understood. Question number 4. Skin, recommended precaution not to do, but you can give it as compensation. Every animal you sacrifice, any animal you slaughter, you can take the skin off it. But recommended precaution, however, as a recommended precaution, one should avoid doing it, like giving the skin. Other than skin, the rest of the parts which are edible, such as head, is edible. The legs, edible. People, they make food out of this, and there is little bit flesh around the legs, and they eat. So these are edible areas. So it's edible. You eat and give your charity and give your mu'min brother. So obligatory precaution you is the charity part. So that is supposed to be eaten, and it's not supposed to be sold or given as a compensation for for the services, such as the slaughterer. Okay, so question number 5. What does how can a person um, how can a Hajji, a person, deal with his one third of the sacrifice for the poor? Where will he find poor? Let's say that he cannot find poor. How would he do? How should he do? What should he do? The poor which the criteria, the religious criteria befalls, because there are certain conditions for this poor. Okay. Um, the days of sacrifice, he cannot find someone qualified to be poor. He says that agreement, and we mentioned this in the text, that you have a poor in your hometown. He gives you the power of attorney, make you representative to do whatever you want to do with his one third. Okay. So so you become his representative. And then once it is in your control, the share of the poor, then you can do whatever. If you can't take it, you can leave it, you can give it gift to anybody. So it's yours now to to control. So what if I can't get the one third of the poor and give it to someone? I can't get the one third of the poor and give it to someone. Number one. Okay. Uh, I can't get the one third to give it to. someone or gifted or leave it there. What should I do? I mean, so he said, if you are not able to, if you're not able to do any of this, and you are not able to find someone who could take this charity, a qualified, deserving recipient, or a qualified, a poor recipient, poor, then there is no liability upon you. Okay? There is no liability upon you. فَلَا حَرَجَ عَلَيْهِ وَلَا ضَمَانَ. There is no liability, there is no problem. So let's rephrase this answer in a way it becomes simpler. So the share of the poor, 1/3 share of the poor, one can make arrangement with a poor in his hometown, tell them, I'm going to sacrifice in Hajj, and I'm going to, I want to give you the 1/3. So do you give me the power of attorney to do whatever I can with your share? He says, yes, I do. Okay? Yes, I do. Now, sometimes it's nice to give the poor something. Should I give him 1/3? Like if the sacrifice is 100 euros, so should I give him 33 euros? Let's say if the faqir was hard-headed, no, my share. You want me to save you? Give me 50% of that money. You don't have to. You don't have to give. If you give, fine. Nurun ala nur. This poor guy, he will benefit. So you give him some money in compensation of him giving you the power of attorney to do whatever. So it's like they call it musalah, reconciliation with the poor. So you do a reconcile. Take this money and please give me the power of attorney to do whatever I can or I have to do with your share there in Hajj. So this is the solution, that to make a reconciliation or to make an agreement. Because there's a poor, you already are supporting him. You don't have to do reconciliation. You just tell him that I'm going for Hajj, and he understands that you need his help. You see, so he'll not charge you for leaving his share. So you don't have to give 1/3 of the price, especially after the sacrifice. The value goes down, as we discussed in our previous session. The value goes down. So if the value goes down, then 1/3 of the value. Let's say 100 euros. It's no more 100 euros. It's 60 euros. Okay, 20 euro, 1/3. So this is what that question number 5 was, that just make an agreement with the poor, that you are going to do whatever you want. He gives you the power of attorney. He gives you the representation to do whatever you are able to do, or it's totally in your hand, he says. And you give him some money as a reconciliation, but you don't have to, as I said. And you don't have to give 1/3 of the amount. Question number 6. It has been mentioned in the manasik, if a person who's performing Hajj uh, like wastes his sacrifice, okay? How does he waste his sacrifice? Optionally. How? Such as he gave the sacrifice to someone who's not worthy of the share of the poor, okay? The share of the poor you gave to somebody who was not poor. So it is mentioned that that person is responsible, liable to pay the share of the poor to them on the basis of obligatory precaution. So to the poor, if you messed up, if you wasted the share of the poor by giving it away to unworthy people, unworthy thing, and that those people who are not poor, so 1/3 as an obligatory precaution. So he would be liable, responsible to give a substitute of it such as monetary value or whatever, that it needs to be it needs to be given to the poor. Okay. He says, okay, let's rephrase the question like this. As you know, there are three shares in the animal of sacrifice. After you sacrifice, there are three shares. So these three shares, if someone wastes the sacrifice, he is responsible on the basis of obligatory precaution to provide the poor person's share, okay, on the basis of obligatory precaution. He's liable for that one third. He needs to pay it off, recompensate. Obviously, if there was faqir and you had this one third of meat with you and something happened, you forgot it, it fell down, it became dirty, it became whatever, no refrigerator, cooler or whatever, freezer. So that is one third it is mentioned. What about the one third of the gift or the one which you are going to dedicate to your mu'min brother? Is there also liability? He says, Jawab, the one third of the gift to a mu'min brother, the one third which is dedicated, which is supposed to be dedicated to the mu'min brother, it is recommended precaution. Therefore, if it is wasted, then the liability is also recommended precaution. That's it. That means you don't have any obligation for the share of the gift, not the sadaqah. Sadaqah is there on the basis of obligatory precaution, but with the liability of the share of the poor person, I mean, gift of your mu'min brother or, yeah. Question number 7. If a person, if a person who's performing Hajj became liable to pay the amount of the uh, share of the poor, the charity one, share of the poor, waste, this, that, he didn't find poor or whatever reasons. So he's responsible to pay to the faqir. He is not able to find faqir, their proper faqir who qualifies to be faqir, who's deserving, who deserves the receiving of the share of the poor. So what will be the liability, upon what value will the liability befall? Before the sacrifice, the value before the sacrifice, or the value after the sacrifice? So he says, let's say the questioner gives an example. Let's say the sacrifice was 300 riyals, okay, or let's say $300 real. Uh, so after the sacrifice, it goes way down. So which one, 300 riyals or the value gone down because of the sacrifice? He says the criteria is the value, I mean, the criteria and the liability is the value after being slaughtered. So whatever value goes down. What if there was no value at all? I mean, people they throw, it's not soldable, it becomes messed up, it becomes deteriorated. So question number says if there's no value for it, okay? If there's no value, then there's no liability. The liability all is on the value. When you're giving the poor, if you don't have that meat or that meat one third, how much would it cost if somebody hypothetically would sell it? Okay. Um, so if there's no value, no one will buy from you. There are millions of slaughtered sheep, and why would that person, for example, buy from you? Hypothetically, we are speaking that um, purchase from you. So if there's no value normally on the day of Eid, because people they don't desire to buy meat, so. Um will a person be liable to pay the poor the amount of the liability or the value after being slaughtered? He said there is no liability. So this was all what or the obligations of slaughtering, the where to slaughter, how to slaughter, when to slaughter, and who to give the share of the slaughter. So these questions were asked. Now at the end of this section of sacrifice, he mentions a few questions such as uh, the recommended sacrifice. When is this recommended sacrifice? In your hometown. Let's say you are not Hajji, like many of our Muslim fellows, they do sacrifice, the Shias and the Sunnis, they do sacrifice in their hometown on Eid al-Adha, and they feel good to feed the people, and it's recommended. So he said that the questioner asks that in the manasik al-Hajj, okay, it does not mention rulings with regards to the recommended sacrifice, which is normally done in the hometown. So could you please list down some of those, or could you list down? So the answer is there are about seven rules, okay, or seven things with this regard. Number one, it is recommended, highly recommended. It is highly recommended, emphasized recommended that whoever is able to slaughter, sacrifice, offer sacrifice, then it is recommended um, and it is recommended that whoever, first of all, the sacrifice is highly emphasized and recommended, highly recommended. Second, if somebody can somebody has the amount to purchase the sacrifice, then it's mustahab to do. Let's say if he did not find a sacrifice, he has the money, he has 100 euros, but he could not find sacrifice. No problem. Give this money to the poor. Um, so what if the animal of sacrifice has various values? Some are for 100 euros, some are for 150, some are for 60 euro, 70. Choose the minimum one. Choose the minimum one. It is permissible for a person to sacrifice on his behalf and on behalf of his family members. How many, Sayyidina? One animal is enough. So it is permissible in the recommended sacrifice, one animal for all the family members. And also, so one animal for all family members. So the owner buys and makes intention on behalf of his family members, one animal. And it is also like 5, 6 people. Let's say the animal is for 100 euros. So 4 people, they put 25 euro, 25 euro, 25, 25. So it's also permissible to for group of people to participate in one sacrifice, especially if the sacrifice were unavailable or the value was very high. Number three, so saying that what is the best time for sacrifice? The best time is after the sunrise on the day of Eid, after passing the time which is equivalent to the time of Salat al-Eid. And the time extends to and the time extends in Mina 4 days, and other than Mina 3 days. So in Mina we know Ayyam al-Tashriq, 10th of Dhul Hajj, 11th, 12th, 13th, 4 days, 10, 11, 12, 13. But other than Mina, it is 3 days, the day of Eid and 11 and 12. Even though it is recommended uh, and recommended to perform it in Mina in the first 3 days, and other than وفي سائر البلدان يوم النحر. So it's recommended precaution that in Mina you do it in first 3 days, 10th, 11th, 12th. And in rest of the world, you do it on the day of Eid, 10th Dhul Hajj. So saying that what type of animal of sacrifice is recommended in the recommended sacrifice? So he says it should be from the cattles, three cattles, the camel, cow, or um, sheep, the camel, cow, or sheep, or goat. And from the camel, it should be, it would not be sufficient on the basis of recommended precaution, obviously, because these are all recommended rules. That it would have reached the fifth. It would have completed the fifth year. So the camel completed the fifth year. You slaughter it, and from the cow and the goat or sheep, which completed the cow and the goat, which completed the second year, and from the sheep, which completed the seventh month. So that's why sheeps are the best, because they're huge, but they are like maybe they're 1 year or 6 months or 8 months or something like that. So that's why but goats completing 2 years, then entering the third year, uh, it can be challenging sometimes. So that's why many Hujjat, they prefer slaughtering sheep, because it's easier to get sheeps. However, they are costly, because they have lots of fat and wool and all those kind of things which are not available in goat. So anyhow, so it's recommended precaution that the camel has completed the fifth year, and the cow and the goat has completed the second year, and the sheep has completed the seventh month. That means is in the eighth month. Okay. What about Sayyidina, number five? Is any condition required, like the one it should be intact and it should be this and not castrated and not mutilated or not battered or shattered and all those kind of things we mentioned, or the horn? So he says that there is no required condition in the recommended, obviously, sacrifice, which are mentioned in the obligatory sacrifice. So one can sacrifice with a blind or a lame, or someone which has a cut off ear, or the horn is broken, or castrated, or skinny, like the bones are like you could says the bone, even though it's recommended precaution that it should be complete and fat, complete and fat, and it is makruh. It is abhorred to sacrifice an animal which you have upbrought it. So you purchase it small, and then you made it, it became big in your eyes, in your life, and now So it's makruh because the goat sees that you have been the owner and you have been always taking care of it, and now you cut off his throat or whatever. Number six, it is permissible that whoever offers sacrifice, recommended obviously, to divide it into one third for himself or his family, and also it is permissible to gift one third of it to whomsoever he likes from the Muslims, and on the basis of strong recommendation or the preferred recommendation to give one third to the poor of the Muslim community. Final one, number seven, it is mustahab to give charity, uh, the skin of this animal of sacrifice, give it to the poor. The poor will go and sell it and earn from it. So give the skin. It is mustahab to give the skin of the sacrifice charity to the poor. And it's makruh to give. It is abhorred to give the slaughterer skin as a wages for his slaughtering. Yes. Can someone fix the skin and make it as his prayer mat? Yes, it is permissible to make the skin as his prayer mat or sell it and buy furniture for his house. So this was all about the animal of sacrifice. Uh, and inshallah, in our upcoming session, we will take the shaving questions and answer about the shaving and the taqsir. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.